All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. This is Chef Dave.
My turn?
Yep, you're
Oh, my turn. Okay, fine. We'll do this. We'll keep this informal and have some fun. Hey, today we're going to play with some of the flavors of Morocco. I got back from Morocco. I was very fortunate to go out there. Got back last week. It was a long trip, but it was a great trip. The agriculture and everything in Morocco is fantastic. So we're going to do three things today. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do a tagine. This is a tagine. It's a cooking vessel. And it's also a dish, more commonly known as a stew. If you don't have a tagine, you can do the same recipe in a crock pot, not necessarily a crock pot, but a nice strong pot with a lid on it and stew it that way as well. So first of all, we're going to start mixing our ingredients up for our tagine, because that's going to take the longest. We've got some, you can use chicken thighs or chicken breast. I'm using chicken breast because they cook a little faster and a little leaner. So we'll put those in here. Okay, and we've got carrots. Now, I cheated on the recipe. I added turnips to the recipe. Sorry about that, threw your curveball. So we'll put some turnip in here. This thing is getting full, some red pepper. Okay. And we'll start throwing some of our spices and herbs in here. Olive oil. Now you notice I've not turned this tagine on yet. Underneath I have a diffuser. This helps diffuse the heat. God bless Amazon. Did I say that? Okay. And helps diffuse the heat so it doesn't crack them, because you will crack it if you throw the heat on there too fast. Okay, some tomatoes go in there. And then you got your herbs and spices you want to put in there. You want to put, this one gets turmeric. So where's my dad there? We'll put some turmeric in here. Okay, and racin hanot, which is a spice mixture indigenous to Northern Africa, particularly Morocco. This is one that we bought out there. We were told it had 20 different spices in it, all ground up. You know, kind of neat. I had a list, but I left it at home. But anyway, you have coriander is in there, nutmeg, mace, fennel, rosebud, all those go in here as well. Okay, and we got some chopped parsley. Now I'll go in here. This is the fun part because I get to mix it all up now. Just mix it all up. So everybody gets some flavor. Everybody gets coated. Okay, we got light? Yes, we did. We got light. It's very important to not let this oil dry, because if you do, it will break. Okay? So there's the tagine that started. This will take 30 or so minutes to cook, so we'll start with this first.
And then if people don't have the tagine cooking device.
Use a big pot, like a Dutch oven works beautifully, because we have the spices in here. Now in Morocco, they didn't use chicken stock, they used just plain old fashioned water. So that works for them, it works for me. So a little bit of water. And change of clothes, because these things really get ripe after a while. Okay. That heat will start diffusing, it'll start getting hot. And I'll put the lid on it. What else are we missing here? We have also peas. I'm going to put some peas in and some potatoes. Okay, throw some potatoes in there. And some raisins in there. You can use dark raisins or the white raisins, it doesn't matter. Okay, so put some in now. I might put some in later. We'll see how it tastes. Okay. And maybe just a tiny bit more spice across the top. And of course, a little bit of salt and pepper. you think, wow, maybe you put too much salt in there. But let's talk about the desert out there. It's very hot and very dry. You need the salt to maintain your body pressure. Okay, so they will have a little bit of salt in their diet, not a tremendous amount. And something like this will be eaten with your fingers for up to the first 3 knuckles. We can use knives and forks. No problem.
Right.
Olive oil. A lot of times there are olive oils out there, I noticed, were scented. Some of them had orange peel or other citrus in their olive oil, which gave it a nice scent and aroma as well. So that's will take a while, because that's a lot of food in there. Okay, while that's working, we got everybody in. Oh, cinnamon stick. There you go. It's in there. Okay, we have everybody. Okay, good. That'll take care of itself and be happy. Next thing we want to make a one of the salads. And I should have turned this on earlier, but I did not. And what I'm going to do is blister the skin. Now you can actually take your peppers and put them into an oven, and that'll blister them as well. Or if you want to do it a little quicker and not use as much utility, blister on the gas stove. I've actually known some people take a blowtorch and hit them with a blowtorch to blister them. And just be careful you don't get the leftover flavor. And we'll just burn it up here a little bit. There we go. So that'll be nice. It's coming out. And see how they blister? They'll blister up nicely. Good. And it's starting to talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll let that blister. After it blisters, we'll peel this. We'll put it into a bag, let it relax a little bit. I'll use one of these bags, and that way it'll steam off, and then all the skin will come off. Don't wash it off underwater, because all you're doing is taking away all the flavor. Because these are nice and flavorful. It's a green pepper, tomato. One thing you want to do with tomato, you want to skin your tomato. Now what we did out there, knife, there it is. You know, some people like doing a little fancy decoration. And you can just make a little tiny tomato rose that are in the Moroccan mix or ginger. They use dried ginger. And the reason they use the dried ginger, so it's not as strong or overpowering. Which is interesting. Because as I said, may have said, the flavors are very spicy, but not hot spicy. And ginger, harvested from different parts of the country or different parts of the world, can have different amounts of heat in it as well. Same with garlic. It can be different. So there's that. And just roughly chop your tomatoes up. Now, like a lot of salads and stuff, this tastes even nicer the day before. Make it the day in advance.
Oh.
And store it in your refrigerator.
Then all the flavors have a chance to.
That one, like a spaghetti sauce, I mean, it always tastes better the next day.
Yeah.
So it's something like this. The flavors develop and mature and blend nicer.
Mhm.
This red onion's already in there. A little bit of lemon juice I can squirt on this to get started. Salt, pepper, and cumin. Now go easy on the lemon because you might hurt yourself, put too much in and your face will kind of do a withdrawal. Let's have a look at this. Starting to get there. Let's turn it up a little bit more. Okay. We got some heat. Yeah, we're starting. I'm not gonna do that twice. Hate that happens. Okay, life happens. Red onion, olive oil. Also, if you really want to get really technical, you can actually strain your seeds out and keep the juice and add that in as well. But out in the desert, the nomads don't have a strainer. They'll just get the stuff, the produce. They'll travel their, whatever it is, kilometers into town, go to their markets, get everything they need and bring it back out to their tent and then go for it. So they don't always have the luxuries that we have. We take things a lot for granted when it comes to food.
I do.
Very much do. And that works out, that'll work out fine. And yes, it's a cumin. Does sound nice. And some salt.
Nice little. Can into the bag.
I'll let this sit and seep for a little while. Meanwhile, got our tomatoes. One of the tomato salads I had, I thought was very interesting. It was diced tomatoes with herbs and sugar. A tomato salad. Really interesting, yeah. And we've got some eggplant here. I roasted the eggplant ahead of time.
So one of your salads has eggplant and one does not?
One does not, that is
Okay.
correct, yes.
All right.
It's like cheesesteak with and without,
Okay.
okay?
Yes.
So you get one with and one without.
Okay.
And the roasting actually imparts a nice flavor with the eggplant, makes it edible. And you'll see that these plants are quite durable. Now the eggplants out there were a little bit different. They were a little smaller in size, a little firmer. So every country has their own species that they grow.
Is eggplant used a lot?
Yes, it is. They have a lot of salads with eggplant out there. Something which was really dynamic. One place we were at, they actually did fried eggplant. They took the fresh eggplant and sliced it paper thin, dusted it in some flour and deep fried it, and served it with honey.
Ooh.
Yes, that's what I said. Ooh, it was good. It was good.
Ooh.
My wife says, you gotta make that for us. I said, "No problem, we will." You know, we will do that. We have that technology. And also another nice thing too, the younger the eggplant, the smaller the seeds as well, which is nice. So if
Okay.
you have a problem with vegetable seeds, this works out better for you. The Japanese eggplant is very small and thin, so they don't have very well developed seeds.
Mhm.
So a lot of people use that and they like the eggplant. I know my mother-in-law passed rest her socks. She couldn't have anything with seeds in it, so my wife used to make eggplant parm for her, just the end pieces.
Oh.
This is the hard part, you gotta chop that up, you know?
No seeds.
You can chop it to any texture that you want. There is no fine rule. Again, some places it was like a mush paste, and some places had some texture in it. And again, with this, you got garlic and herbs. And a lot of use of a lot of lemon out there, a lot of lemon trees, a lot of orange trees. Along a lot of the roads as decoration, they had a bitter orange they used to have. The bitter orange, it really makes a very, very fragrant blossom, but the oranges will kind of mess your face up a little bit when you try to eat them. Okay, so we've got garlic here already. This is a mixture of flat parsley and cilantro. Okay, paprika I need to put in here. Lemon I need to put in here. That's starting to boil. Yes, it's starting to. Good. I'll water for this, just make sure I don't boil dry. Okay, starting to smell. we got in here? Paprika, olive oil, lemon juice, olive oil everywhere. I'm gonna keep it chunky. This is a great knife. You can use it as a spatula at the same time.
Nice.
Not to promote any brands or anything, but I won't tell you it's a Mercer cutlery knife in Germany. You know, but how, why did I say that? But it's a nice knife. Some places would actually decorate their bowls of salads with lettuce leaves. Some would not. It's all according to. You know, when you're going through the zooks, you're watching people eating, they did the finger thing. And they did all the finger thing. Nobody had any utensils in the markets. And that's what they were used to. I mean, cool beans, it works.
One last thing you have to carry out in the desert.
That's it.
Already comes.
You know, my
with it.
impression of Morocco was nothing but camels and people all wrapped up in deserts. How was I wrong? What a beautiful, beautiful country. You know, and the people we met were so gracious and so nice. You know, even the snake charmer was good.
The snake charmer. That's
Snake
cool.
charmers. You know, the poisonous snakes he left off to the side, and the non-poisonous snakes he brought out so we could play with them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that was good. They had vipers and cobras,
Ugh.
you know, and the cobras were pretty spiteful. And most of the stuff actually is served room temperature. Needless to say, they don't have a lot of refrigeration out there.
Right.
Okay. There. This may take longer than I hope. I had hoped. We'll see. That's there. Let's go back to our peppers. All the good pepper juice.
Hmm.
And you take the knife and just push your pepper down, and you can just press it down and get all the charred skin off. But you have the flavor of the char, everybody underneath. I'm gonna do just roughly chop this as well. Still a little bit warm, but I got these gloves on, so that helps. And again, some households will take this and make it very, very fine. Some will make it very, very chunky. It's personal preference, which is a nice thing about cooking, especially presidential cooking like this. You know, ethnic cooking like this. It's very, 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 very regional. Everybody has their own little thing. You know, you go to Italy, go down the street, everybody's got the best gravy. Don't care who they got the best one. You know, same thing in Morocco. One thing which is interesting in Morocco, the houses look like really shabby on the outside because of they were all brown. They're all brown because it's desert. They use rocks and they use the clay and straw to build the houses. So most people never showed how wealthy they were by doing anything on the outside of the house. The wealth and the fancier things were on the inside of the house. So that way you don't offend anybody by making them think that you're better than them. Which is an interesting philosophy. It's kind of nice in a way. Smell the perfume coming off of this?
Yes.
It's gonna take a little while. One thing about this, the strainer, the steam raises on the top, it condenses and comes back down again. You retain a lot of your flavor and your nutrients. I'll put the peas in a little while. What else can we talk about? I talked about the ras el hanout. I said, this one that we bought at the grocery store probably has about 7, maybe 8 spices in it. They say cinnamon, black and red peppers, turmeric. Yeah, that's all they say. But coriander, I mean, the ones that the homemade ones, they can have up to 40 spices in them. Lavender flowers or some ashberries, which are an interesting thing. We have ashberries in this country, but they're very astringent. You don't want a whole lot, so just a teeny little bit. Works and goes really, really nice. Coriander, cumin, cardamom, black and green, peppers, different types of peppers, dried peppers, of course, dried ginger, of course. All a lot of fun, nice flavors. Also, every meal in Morocco has a bread. Now, the bread varied from one place to another. So I made a quick flat bread. It's yeast risen, but it's not real good. It's not real leavened. It's just a little leaven. Just a little bit of hot pulpa in it. That's okay. It's actually, I use my recipe for my no knead bread. 3 cups of flour, teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of yeast, and 1.5 cups of lukewarm water. Mix it all together. I let it rise, put in a bowl. I let it rise for 2 hours, and then put it out and pushed it down into a large sheet tray, and let it rise again for about half an hour, and then popped it into a 450-degree oven. So you got something similar to what we ate out there, not quite the same. Another thing is they have their flour, they grind it, and it's a very coarse grind, kind of like a semolina. So it's a very, very coarse ground flour, and it's quite nice. A little different, they use the whole grain of the wheat berry, and that works out nice for them too. And we went to one home, and they had their flour grinder, big stone with a hole in it, and they just round it around and ground the flour. Very rustic, but very healthy. Yeah. Let me taste that first, see what we got. A little lemon in there. And depending on how fancy you can get, you can put your diced, put your tomato rose on there if you want to, just to set off before you give it to your guest. Yeah.
Wow, makes it
Yeah,
hot.
fun stuff. And over here, we don't have a tomato rose. Oh, well, it's tomato roseless. See anything else? The Sahara Desert was interesting. We're out there. It went from probably in this time of year, I would say about 60 or so degrees at nighttime, 80 couple degrees in the daytime. And if you've not been on the camel ride, it's interesting because they get up back feet first. When you're sitting on the saddle, the next thing you know, you're almost looking at the ground before the front feet come up.
Oh my.
Oh yes, it is the weirdest thing going.
Was that fun?
Fortunately, everybody was aware of it.
Yeah.
We were all told about to hang on really tight, and nobody did it head over heels on their camel. And if we went on the camel trail, we noticed that there was 2 great big holes in the side of a dune and a slide mark, and then a whole lot of footprints down at the bottom. It looks like somebody went over the side of the camels. We weren't there to see it.
Oh dear.
Hopefully nobody was hurt.
Oh my goodness.
Hopefully nobody was hurt, but I thought that was interesting. When we went to a Jeep ride to the dunes of the desert, and one of the drivers got a little bit cocky. He started doing a dune. Next thing you know, he stops because he was right on the edge and he almost did a roll down the hill. We got up there, we caught up with him, and everybody got out of the Jeep very carefully. Then a more experienced driver took the Jeep and went down the hill. And it was maybe a 40% incline or something like that. You're kind of looking straight down.
Wow.
He drove it around and came back up and everything. Everybody got back in. We continued on our way. And one thing about the dune, it's over here today and it's over there tomorrow. They do shift. But the place that we went, they did have wells, so we did have running water. We slept in a tent overnight in Morocco in the desert.
Oh,
We had
fun.
running water, plumbing and stuff like that. We were spoiled.
That's so cool.
Yes, we did. They have some cool musical instruments out there too. They have a guitar, which is like a cigar box guitar in a sense. And it's, the strings are made with goat gut, pulled out and stretched out.
Oh my.
And actually the face of the guitar actually is, has camel hide on it. So you can beat on it too, like a
Wow.
little drum. Yeah, it was, hey, those guys were rocking, let me tell you. I tried it, but I didn't do it justice. Oh, now we're cooking with gas. Okay. Yeah. Potatoes are started. Potatoes are gonna be the last thing to cook. We can throw our peas in now, probably. And might have put the rest of the raisins in, what the heck. I like raisins.
You mentioned dates.
Hmm?
You mentioned a lot of dates.
Yes,
with-
dates. A lot of date farms out there.
Yeah.
People will grow their dates and everything. On the way to Rabat, there is some of the water table in one area is slightly salty, but the dates will still work and grow very nicely in the salty water. Other agriculture will not work. So when you put it in a well, you have to be careful. Because if you tapped into the salt water, it wasn't good for other produce. Carrots, turnip, beans, peas, et cetera, but it's still okay for dates. So people would actually plant date trees in those areas and work. Another thing too, there was a fire several years ago and a whole valley pretty much burnt out. But the date trees just popped right back.
Really?
Yeah, even though they were burnt out,
Hmm.
the bark is very, very thick on them. And then after a year, they started resprouting and refruiting again.
Oh,
Yeah. So that was,
very, very hardy.
huh?
Very hardy.
Oh, yes, extremely hardy, yes. Hey, do you want to put these on the table?
Then
please?
may I ask how they serve their dates? And do they
Just on
cook
the
just eating them like
Just on the
raw,
plate.
or what you would say off the tree? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And there's different types of dates too. There's different species. There's different types. The Medjool date is the biggest date, which is most sought after because it's the largest date.
Okay.
And then there's different categories, which are a little bit smaller after that.
All right.
Thank you.
And how do they grow? I mean, they don't
They grow
in a cluster?
in clusters, yeah. We
Okay.
also grow bananas out there. There are different species of banana than we have in this country,
Okay.
obviously. But they grow bananas out there too, which is kind of neat. They're neat. They have a lot of times we were going through and we saw a lot of beehives. So they do beekeeping because there's a lot of honey out there.
Right.
Honey is used a lot out there and it's necessary for the agriculture as well.
Yes.
Now, our guide was telling us they use very few, if any, pesticides because they can't afford them. So they hope they don't get a lot of bad bugs. You know,
Better they don't use, the better they grow organic.
well, as much as possible, yes. And when you look at the people out there, they all seem pretty healthy and happy. So if you have any questions, if you can answer, you can ask them now, or you can send me an email, because at the bottom of the recipe package, there's my email address, hkwtllc@gmail.com. Hey, you're family now, so ask away, no problem. I'll get back to you within a day or two. And if I don't know the answer, I won't lie to you, because you can always check up on me. Hey, thank you for being here. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.